paras Formula 1 seurantapalvelu. Sinulla. Koe Formula 1 kuskin silmin. Katsomon F1-palvelu tarjoaa.
Se vad som sker där du är.
Får jag föreslå en sak?
TV4 Play Premium ger dig tillgång till över 4500 avsnitt från 6 kanaler.
Hej till alla som kommer hit.
Där du vill.
Vad säger du om det?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, that was not the slide. Okay. Welcome. Welcome to this panel here today with the title Over the Top Video in Pioneer Land. We're so lucky to have with us today some of the guys that really pioneered over the top video in Scandinavia. So let me introduce to you Sami Kanninen from MTV3 in Finland, Tommy Jarnemark from the TV4 in Sweden, Christian Bruare, TV2 Norway. And we're also lucky to have Are here from Thomson Video Networks, who's going to talk a bit and relate this to Europe as a whole. So first of all, let me start by asking you, Sami, if you could just present your company in a brief and talk shortly about your over-the-top offerings.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Sami Kanninen from MTV3 in Finland. It's the largest commercial broadcaster in Finland, and I manage a service where we offer content from 6 TV channels. 3 of those are free TV channels, so basically we offer catch-up TV, which is ad-funded, and then the rest of the channels are pay TV channels, and there our offering is mostly live sports, other live events like Big Brother, so it's those are consumer paid products, and in addition we have a lot of sort of exclusive web content built around the TV content to create a sort of a new user experience for the live events, some of which you probably saw in the video that was presented. And in terms of platforms, we operate on web TV. We have the service on 2 IPTV set-top boxes, and then iOS devices are coming now in about 2 weeks or so. And just to say a few words about the size of the service we operate, we have about 400,000 users per week on the site, and that creates annually about 100 million video requests. So that's sort of an overview of the service I manage and operate.
Yes, hello everyone, I'm Tommy Jarnemark. I'm representing the TV4 Group, which is the largest broadcasting company in the Scandinavian territory. We are based in Stockholm, Sweden, and we run broadcasting within free TV, mini pay, and premium TV. Approximately around 30 channels and more. We have offering on all platforms out there, almost. That's IPTV, connected TVs, iOS, Android, and of course the web. And we are currently running video on demand services focusing on film, sports, and entertainment.
Yes, sorry about my voice a little bit harsh, but my name is Christian Bruare. I come from TV2 in Norway, where I work as a strategic advisor and business developer at the moment. TV2 Norway is Norway's largest commercial broadcaster and the youngest one of the one sitting at this panel. We were founded back in 1992, but today we have a huge operation with 6 different live channels, and we also have both a premium live channel, both for Norwegian football and for Premier League football. So offering all the matches from those two properties. The reason why I sit here is because I was a part of building TV2 Sumo, which is the Nordic's largest content service, if you look at both subscription numbers and revenues. And that is a streaming service that started actually all the way back to 1997 and was fully commercialized back in 2002, I believe. And Helge, who stands here, was also part of that, building that operation into the success. By mean of that, TV2 is also a big player in the so-called open ad market on the online world and the mobile world in Norway, and of having both a successful online and mobile site. And I guess we will talk a bit about today that, okay, how can a commercial broadcaster which lives out of ad funding also have a premium paid operation for the full ad program online, and also try to build an ad-funded model online. So just a small subject for the day.
So we'll get back to the models, but I'm curious because all of you were like doing what iPlayer became known for in 2006, years ahead. You started taking subscriber money long before Hulu started taking their model there. Why were you so early?
You want to start?
Okay, I'll start. I suppose we had and we started probably in about 2004, 2005, and well, at first it was mainly piloting with different content. We actually believed in at start at the consumer paid model, and tried even offering news as a consumer paid product, but quite quickly then realized that maybe that's not the way to go, and then have tried different things along the way, and now have come to a model where, as Christian said, it combines both ad-funded content with premium content and transactional sales.
I guess what we saw in the Nordic territories that technology enabled us to create an end customer relationship very early, especially within the sports segment, where we saw a great demand on trying to charge for content, and especially TV2 has been very successful with that, but also that's a trend that we're seeing within the Seymour company, which is the premium company within the TV4 group, and their sports offering when it comes to pay-per-view matches on the internet.
Yeah, and one important factor, I believe, at least for TV2, which had a license to be the commercial broadcaster in Norway in the analog world, then when we saw the digitalization enters about year 2000, then TV2 was also say, okay, our licensing is about to run out. What should we do? We at least have to find one leg to stand on, and broadband was the buzzword. Internet was coming, and we had good staff that wanted to experiment with online, and I think that a lot of those factors, with a leader group that felt the threat of being cut off here, saw that, okay, OTT starts already back there. And this is maybe one of the reasons that we are pioneers today, because we started back then and have built our strategy around it. And we have never owned the distribution side of our TV signals, but now we see there still is an option, and now we're working together as both OTT platform online, but we're also working very close with a traditional distributor on cable and satellite, and also DTT.
And of course, the piracy was, of course, a driving factor for, content owners to create offering that was, better than the Pirate Bay product, for example. So that was a strong driving force for us to do something.
And if I could, then there is one more important thing that kicked our service off, and that is the sports. Because we bought the Norwegian football rights back in 2002, and then we were, okay, what should we do with them? We have them, we have to exploit them. So we started with live streaming of all the matches back in 2002 as a paid service online. There was no broadband to watch it, but we did it. And suddenly we were the first broadcaster in the world, or this was the first main football property that was turned into all matches you can in an online world, and that gave us so many good experiences that we saw the potential in it because the audience wanted it, because those matches weren't available anywhere else. So we built this as, okay, we can build this service. So it started back in 2002 as a premium service, and Helge was a part of building that, of course.
So you were early, all of you, and you've been pioneering this by doing stuff that others are still not doing today, like doing linear services of channels, etc. How about when I'm talking to companies out there, and when is it me who makes the audio? So when I'm talking to companies out there, broadcasters, when I read surveys, everybody's talking about that the number one priority today is for the CEO of the broadcast industries is getting video to multi-screen. But when you ask how successful the current offerings are in commercial terms, it seems like there are very few success cases out there. Now you seem to have success. So where would you say today that you are in terms of how important is what you do now for the company?
Well, if you look at the ad part, the ad selling part, we have just recently started to creating the same routines around web TV advertising that we have on the traditional linear broadcasting. We have the same sort of process when it comes to estimate the inventory and stuff like that. So the media agencies are buying the traditional TV and the web TV at the same time. So I would say that now we are moving into a period of time where sort of traditional TV and the web TV are getting much more integrated. And I guess moving on, that's what we think is the strongest and the most important thing for the TV industry is to combine all these platforms, creating one single universe for advertising, because we can't see them as isolated islands trying to maximize their own revenues on their separate platforms. We have to create a single universe where we can say to Coca-Cola, for example, this is sort of the 24-hour where you will have your target group on these platforms, advertising around strong content. And I think that's where we stand right now, is trying to combine those.
I'd like to continue on that we also like to make a distinction between our web TV service and online video services in a way that try to create a brand of the web TV service, which is high quality in different aspects, has of course high quality long-form content, has an experience that's more TV-like in a way that, for example, in our service you can choose your favorite programs. Those get put into your sort of a personal playlist automatically, and you can watch them in a more sort of a lean back experience like it is on TV, and not constantly click on video clips, other things. So and in terms of advertising, try, as Tommy said, have similar processes or the same processes as buying for the TV ads, also for web TV, which means that the same ad material can also be used for the web. So it's overall we try to create sort of a TV-like experience, but then combine that with sort of a new, engaging, exclusive content and services on the web.
How about you, Christian? How important has it become for TV2?
To be in a multi-platform world, it seems like the importance of it is that the TV, the traditional linear TV, is one of the buzzwords on this conference has been content discovery. How should you use the second screen for content discovery? And the biggest content discovery platform we have today is linear TV. If you understand what I mean, it's like that is when people discover that it's coming out new content, because this is the part who puts out the content, and it has been working for decades as the true content discovery engine. But with so many digital channels we have in the linear platforms today, then you see the disruption that people are. We don't have any 50% market share all day or many parts of the day. It's like very, very seldom. And to get that, we have to offer a content where people are when they want and when they are able to see it. And people are traveling. We are competing with the way people are consuming their own time. And then we have to make services that make sure that they can watch our content.
So how many people go to your services? Do you have any examples of success?
The biggest success I can say today, because I can't comment directly on the subscription numbers on the online platforms, but the biggest success we have today, and the true over-the-top example, is that our platform is the Sumo platform, our own online platform, is the biggest distributor of the Premier League's live matches, actually. It's bigger than any of the cable companies, the satellite companies, the IPTV companies that are offering this. And the number of subscribers are, by that, huge. And this is maybe the best example we see today, that people have actually gone over the top. And for football, of course, people like to watch football on demand as well, but that is the main live sport. And then to have an iPad or to have your iPhone and to have your laptop with you, or maybe someone else in the family would like to use the big screen for watching something else, then you can watch it on your computer in the same room. So this is maybe the best example I can give at the moment.
Yeah, I want to make a remark on that, because an important thing that Christian is saying, that it's not, we are not moving away from linear TV to something else. It's not either or. For us, it's TV, but it's TV on all of these platforms, and it can be linear, it can be on demand, it can be pay-per-view or ad-funded or subscription-funded. That's the most important thing for us as a broadcaster, to understand that we are creating content that can be consumed in different kind of formats, and that's sort of the beauty of this. The future, that is, for the viewer, they can choose whatever they want. And that's what we have to adapt to, and not create, okay, now we have to focus on demand because everyone wants to see something on demand. We don't believe that. We believe that there's a freedom of choice when it comes to TV in the future.
So you're all for mixing linear and on-demand experience on all platforms and screens.
Yeah.
That is a part of the storytelling, as we like to tell.
Yeah.
It's how to tell a story most efficient in a digital world, and then you are using those things.
So Are Olafsen, you're working in Thomson Video Networks, currently Director of Sales, but you have a long history there with product manager, business development. You must have talked to a lot of broadcasters.
Yeah, we see exactly the same as the three guys has talked about. We're seeing a number of business models being used. I think the key thing is to go where the customers or the consumer wants to be, the latest gadgets, consuming the video on those devices. So the ones we're talking to is certainly looking at how can we integrate this with our standard linear services, additional services on the over-the-top services, but also how to integrate the two together, possibly using the internet as a more cost-effective way of distributing the content in certain examples. Others are looking at expanding the services, so offering all the football games, all the Premier League games to the consumers, etc., etc. So yeah, there's a wide range of business models, but I think what these three have said is very much reflecting what our experience is as well.
I know that you're also working with the service providers, or let's say the TV distributors, and enabling them to go, let's say, over the top, or doing multi-screen delivery. And you guys, you have all very tight relations with these distributors in your territories. And these guys are making a lot of money for you by buying your content and delivering your channels to the audience. So some would say that you should just leave this distribution game to them. So why, because of this new technology, are you changing so that you now also are going direct?
You want to start?
Okay, if I start, I think the main reason is the ownership of the customer relationship and on a long term that we want to secure. But like Helge said, we are cooperating with the telcos very strongly at the moment, and that can provide now very rich experiences on IPTVs because you can combine sort of the exclusive web content, for example, multiple simultaneous streams with good picture quality. But when we go forward, 2013, 2014, I believe that then connected TVs and ownership of the user relationship is going to be more and more important, and that's why we need to be in the game already.
Yeah, and I guess from our perspective, looking forward, I guess in a connected TV, I guess you will have, all the operators there, where they, with a telco app from Telia Sonera, for example, but you will also have all the broadcasters and YouTube and Apple, and so they will all be there. And from our perspective, it's important to be, why don't be there, where the customers are, right? So if you want to have a relationship strictly with the TV4 group, you're welcome. But if you want to reach our content at operators offer, that's where we, that's okay with us too. So I mean, we have 3 business models that we are focusing on, and that's the advertising model, that's the business to consumer, and the business to business model. And we are, our review on the future is that these three will be very much, equally important for us as a broadcaster creating revenues.
I think, sorry, I think that one of the challenges we will have if we just gave our content away is that with this new disrupted way of consuming content, then you have to find a mechanism to make it attractive to use our content. And to do that, we make second screens experiences. We make, for instance, we have a popular chat going on football matches. We have play-along formats. And if we can't decide when these play-alongs, the interactivity of the content, if that isn't perfectly fitted into the way we build the next generation TV formats, then if we gave all our, how should I say it, the TVs getting more personal, then we need some info about the users back. And if we gave all that directly to the distributors, then we will maybe not produce the best content that we are best doing. The distributors are not best producing content, we are. And now this two-way experience is important for us to be in. And another point that both being editorial strong, as we like to say that we are, we also see that by trying to do over the top, as we have done, and now I say that we are the largest Premier League distributor, then we actually have some kind of a mechanism for going to the different discussions with the distributors to say, okay, if you don't pay what we need to make this a success, or if you don't open up that door so we can come into your garden, then okay, then we might not work with you because we have our own distribution now. So that has given us a good strategic trading card in the whole OTT world and the distribution world.
So it works positively in 2 ways. It's not only a negative thing towards your partners.
No.
Do you see the same?
Yeah, but I guess it's sort of a balance, game that we are playing right now, and I know there's a lot of discussion that I'm being involved in myself, but our guys at the distribution office they're having some trouble getting them to understand our view on the future, because as a telco, they are of course very much worried that we are taking their business, but we are not seeing them as it's not either or when it comes to business in the future. It's not the broadcasters or the operators. We're all going to be in that arena, taking up the part that we can take. That's our take on the future.
So Ava, these three guys are working for companies that have been pretty spoiled previously by being more or less monopolists in their market when it comes to commercial TV.
Yep.
So it's been a money-making machine, more or less. They've all seen that the market share has fallen with the penetration of new digital channels, the fragmentation of the market. There's been a lot of talk for a long time now about not only fragmentation, but the weakening of the brands of the channels, so that people are more loyal to the content on the channels than the channel itself. This is something you hear worldwide. So with this fact, and also the fact that distributors are now buying content directly from Hollywood, buying directly content from the sports holders, we see even now distributors starting up to buy unique content produced in a name. Do you leave these guys much chance in this space?
I do in many ways. I think the brand awareness that these guys has built up over the years is going to be important going forward as well, in terms of they are a trusted source of TV programs, etc., etc. And I think they know the knowledge they built up over the years about what people want, at what time, editorial things, is going to be very important. So yes, I see where you're coming from, but I think actually they are in a very strong position in terms of own produced content. I mean, content has always been king, or whatever they call it, and I think content is going to be the key things going forward as well. People will explore whatever they can get hold of the content, and if TV2 is a trusted source in Norway, then that's a natural source of going to that.
I mean, I do believe that the consumers always needs, they need the beacons to show this is funny to watch, right? I mean, just a search engine that's saying, okay, give me something funny. That's very hard to consume entertainment and sports and so forth. But will the channels be the beacons in the future? Well, we've been knowing for a couple of years now that the traditional brand when it comes to a linear channel is not that strong. It's the shows that is the strongest. But now creating new brands being sort of the future beacons like TV2 Sumo and TV4 Play and the Katsuma platform, that's another way of creating brands or new channels for, trying to communicate. This is something that you should watch. But if we are not there, someone else will be there. It could be iTunes, it could be a YouTube, or whatever. But there will always be beacons trying to communicate this is something that you should watch.
And in a survey we did for our online services, the Sumo service last year, it showed that most people, I think it was 45% or something like that, said that they are visiting the service to be entertained. What they're actually saying is that they are not, the majority is not coming in because they are so targeted that they want to see that program, or that they know that there is a program going on. They are coming in because they want to be entertained. And that just proves that we are editorial strong. And this is also what I say about big successes now, like Netflix and Hulu. It's like they are also good at collecting content, and they are also good at building content discovery, even though if it's their good engine, or is that they are involving in social media, that people in your personal network is the recommender, or that it's the editorial recommender. I think it's the mix of it, and the brands that we have built for decades now, it's like people trust them, and the same with the state broadcasters in our territory. Still the strongest brands on offering a TV program. And what we see is that, okay, there are coming more and more international actors now, international companies coming into our market as well. I guess they will come, and they will offer much studio content from Hollywood, many of them. But we will still produce our own local content, and the viewers, the audience, want to have that.
So I'll open up for questions in a few minutes, so please prepare and just raise your hand and speak out loud, and these guys will try to answer. But first of all, I'd like you, Sami, to say, looking ahead 5 years from now, what do you think is the key factors of moving along and having a success in this space?
Well, I think the key factor is having a very good user experience and engaging the user in different ways to that specific content. That's something that, like Tommy and Christian referred to, that's something that we're good at in developing and creating content in very rich ways where, I mean, the engagement can take different forms. On web TV, for example, it can be that you have multiple, simultaneous streams you can choose from, interactivity, social media, plugins and chats which create that type of engagement on it. Also, it might take the form of having exclusive web content combined or complementing the TV offering in a way that while you watch the TV show, let's say once a week, you have content on the web every day during the week, and then that sort of creates the stickiness and engagement to a certain content, and that can be offered through different platforms. So I think that's something that will keep the customer with us. That type of experience you can't just provide by adding just video on a service and expecting the user to just watch that, but rather have a rich experience around it. So I think that's probably the main or the key thing. Then something that's a challenge for us, I think, as broadcasters is the moving from large audiences to providing a service to a single customer. So managing the customer relationship is something that at least we need to develop and learn more about, because that's something new that we haven't done until now enough. So I think those are key points.
Do you have something to add, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add that TV will be on, as Sami were saying here, TV will be on all these platforms. But to create that, we have to really think of, the quality of the service, right? Because linear TV is a very robust, something that often works. But if you look at web services and especially mobile services, they are not that good when it comes to a TV experience. And that's something that will sort of put a pressure on companies like yourself, the VMAN companies and so forth, that we can have a robust platform and a robust experience, despite which kind of TV platforms I will use for my consumption. I think when that happens, you will also see a tremendous increase both in the consumption but also when it comes to business.
I would like to add that we who are sitting here, and also we are ahead of the rest of the world very often. And just an example now, we did our first 3D football match, and we still seek what will happen during the World Cup in Brazil in 2014. And then they said, no, we're not sure yet if we should put the 3D production costs on all the broadcasters, because even in 2014 there will be a lot of standard definition channels around the world, And we have done the standard definition, high definition, now looking at 3D, we are over the top. We're quite ahead in our markets. And I think we will be ahead, but even in 5 years, I think we will have linear channels, that's for sure. And I think the linear channels will be strong, and we will work for them to be strong, because that is our main feat. And our main feat to stand on in the income is to be ad-driven at the moment. So we need to find a balance between being ad-driven and premium services, and we still have to be one of the strongest channels. And we have to work with the distributors, and we have to work with the device manufacturers so we're not building our each garden and sits there and not having fun at all, and not inviting anyone in. So I think that, and my last word is that accessibility, that is my key word to how we should.
Tommy talked about quality of service here,
Yep.
and I know you've been telling me that you're working on one thing that's really important, which is getting the bandwidth down, the consumption down online.
So yeah, I mean, I think what enabled over-the-top TV a few years back was that the broadband speed and the bitrate needed for video delivery was, merging together, so that enabled video to be delivered to the homes. I still see a lot of the customer we're talking to still want to try to make this work. Some of them all the 3 here is deployed, but there are many yet to deploy. I think once we get that to work, then we can start looking forward about new services. 3D is an interesting one. How do you promote 3D to become a mainstream technology? And we also see that maybe ultra-high definition TV, those kind of things are also the next step. And we're working on next generation video compression that can drive the bitrate down even further on video to enable those kind of things to be delivered to the home. So yeah, I think over the top will be used for these kind of experimental things until they become mainstream and can be challenged into the terrestrial network. So yeah.
Sure. So any questions from the audience? I'm sorry, I don't think we have a mic, but if you...
I wonder when you said you were going to promote local content, how deep this local means, how far into the local communities, into regions, towns, cities, and so on, you think your organization is willing to go, or who would be an alternative organization doing this highly localized?
Yeah, if you look at me, it's like, I can answer. I think Tommy is better to answer, but TV2 is only national. But when I make, yeah.
I mean, the TV4 group, we have around 25 local stations covering the Swedish territory. So looking at really local produced news content, for example, we're doing that, and I think that's also a very strong ad market. So that, I guess, that kind of production will increase. But looking at local productions as a Swedish production compared to a Hollywood series, that is something that is very popular, but it's also very expensive. I mean, we have, and I know you guys also have it. I mean, Big Brother, for example, and we have the Pop Idol and Strictly Come Dancing. That is very expensive for us, but that is also a high consumed formats compared to, Modern Family or any Hollywood content they're out there, and that is something that creates a competitive advantage compared to a Netflix, for example.
Also, if I can add, if you look at the numbers, I think about 80% of our viewing comes from national content, and then the Hollywood content is only about, or a very small minority of the total viewing that takes place.
Maybe if I could just add a question. Do you think all these local channels will be available on a common platform with common GUI access to all the viewers on the nationwide basis?
Yes, I do, and we are currently running our local short news clips on all these platforms. So, and I guess that will increase in the future as well. I mean, it's an effective local-based service, especially on these devices. So I guess it will increase, definitely.
Ironically also, the introduction of high definition for certain countries has made it more difficult to get local produced content because of the transmission cost often has gone up. So over-the-top TV could be a very good platform going forward to reintroduce that.
Maybe second question, do you see in Scandinavia already any role of the national regulator concerning the rules of the over-the-top program?
Regulations concerning
The amount of advertisements and so on.
Well, right now, I mean, we have EU, European, for us, not a clear sort of law when it comes to advertising, but there are some guidelines. And we are following that guideline, but they don't talk about the amount of commercials. But I guess we are going to be much more TV-like on these new platforms. So I guess in the future you will have some regulations trying to restrict that as well.
And in Norway, we have this, we are not a member of the European Union, but we have just decided that also online broadcasting should be seen as broadcasting. So it is not a technical thing between an OTT and a DTT or a satellite or a cable.
Sir.
Currently, linear TV or IPTV and over-the-top services on one TV are usually served through a set-top box in the legacy systems or in many parts of the world. How do you see the set-top boxes being? What's the future of set-top box and over-the-top systems? How do you navigate over-the-top and linear in the same way?
We have had a beautiful work with one of the IPTV networks in Norway since 2005, Altibox sits there. And there we have made a really good work to find ways how you can easily go from the linear channel into the portals. And I think that the technology is there. It's just that we have to be better combining the people who are doing the linear schedule with the people who are doing the maybe portal and on-demand production, and see if there is way to make this more smooth. But I think the technology is there, so it's not a
Remote control right now is still, the traditional remote control is single device that people access TV with. So what's your?
I believe when I've seen several panels around this conference talking about like the extended remote control, that you're using the smartphone or you're using the iPad, and that is, or a website in general, that is a good way to have this content discovery, so you can easily make this smoother. I feel that is one of the best solutions so far I've seen. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, can we make new remote controls that is more genius? Okay, not the remote control itself, but maybe the engine behind it. So it's you don't have to go through many clicks to find relevant content or services.
Yep.
Yeah, just noticing that iPlayer launching in Sweden with their content. Do you think your broadcasters there's going to be any opportunity in the future to almost go the other way, take your brand outside Norway, outside Sweden, outside Finland? I mean, I've just seen that there's quite a few Swedish films, Danish TV series actually becoming more than just cult successes, but gaining good commercial viewing figures outside the country of origin. Is it going to be too small to worry about, or do you see in the future any potential?
Well, I mean, first of all, when we are doing, local productions on in the Swedish language, that sort of, narrows it down when it comes to, the potential of selling that kind of formats on Swedish, on other territories. That's, one issue for us. But I guess looking at the sort of the Scandinavian territory, I know there are discussions going on between, trying to sort of create one market in the Scandinavian territory, to maximize both revenues, but also create a stronger position against the international players. So I don't think that we might have our content being a huge business outside the Scandinavian territory, but I guess we will be much more under pressure from international players, like, for example, the iPlayer, since the British content is very strong especially in Sweden.
So maybe you should all go Vikings again and make people talk Scandinavian.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, as a platform, that could be something else. I mean, white labeling the things that we are doing on these platforms and not selling content but selling the service, that could be something interesting to discuss.
But it is something quite new, this. And because the Danish, The Killing, which has been a huge success internationally, I guess, and you see now a Norwegian film called Trolljägaren, the Troll Hunter, and you see Nordic local content that's coming is really welcomed into other territories. But I don't think it's enough, and I think it's very early on. But maybe in the future,
it's very event-based, right? So it's not. I mean, the iPlayer is like that's a full service that can be bought, but we're doing very strong event-based content. But is that enough to create a full service that can be built on subscription? I'm not today anyway.
So Scandinavians are doing small attempts going Viking with troll movies.
Yeah.
Back over there.
Yeah, sure.
Since we started with it, we felt it was very important to take paid because the ad pricing on online back in 2000 and 2002 was, that was nickel and dimes. So that was the only way to actually see if we could get any money. But it's not only sports. That is very important for us to bring out. Is that still the entertainment? We have 3 different subscriptions. We have a basic subscription which gives you a linear channel. We have an entertainment package and we have a sports package. Then we have a gold package on top. What we see now that more and more people are buying the gold package because they would like to have both more and more of the entertainment and sports, but still entertainment is the biggest package actually, and that entertainment is being delivered all year round.
And since we have a lot of revenues coming from the operators, it's very important to create a paid service with the content that you are getting paid by the operators. I mean, so it could be nice to have a free TV sort of service on all these platforms, and we could make a lot of advertising money, especially today, but that will sort of, we can't do that because we have revenues coming from a different angle. But it also makes, we strongly believe in the freemium model, where we have a strong catch-up service, sort of, trying to drive in the consumers into a pay TV model. And that is something that is very much interesting when it comes to creating a great revenue for the future. So those two combined, it's very important.
For us, the paid content and the consumer paid business was actually much bigger than the ad-based business for just some years ago. Now ad-based business is growing more rapidly, and I think it's important also to have that element on these new platforms, because that creates the type of reach and interest for the service that can then be converted to paying customers. So we believe in both models, or these two models, complement each other, and at the moment we don't have a freemium model like TV4 Play Premium, but we'll have both ad-funded content and then pay TV content in the same service.
How important do you see the near future of developing of smart TV and cooperation with the manufacturers?
Well, we have 2 applications running right now, one on LG and one on the Samsung platform. And we see the development of smart TV being sort of the next big thing out there. But it will take some time and for the consumer to adopt that kind of new features on their telly. But we do believe that it will happen. But then you can talk about standardizations and stuff like that, because you have to adapt for each and every device that are out there. But we do believe it's going to be a strong platform, you know, moving into the future. And that's probably maybe the strongest platform for us to create a end consumer relationship in the living room.
So I guess we have to wrap up pretty soon, but we might have time for one more question. Any more questions?
In regard to smart TV, what do you think about HDTV viewers?
Well, we are not focusing on it right now. Right now we are building the applications for each and every platform, but we are following it very closely. The public broadcaster in Sweden have decided not to go, you know, into the application-based development. So I know they are, you know, having a different kind of view on that. But we are saying that we have to be open to every kind of standard or devices that are out there.
Same with us.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're gone past our time. So thank you all for the panel, everybody. Thank you all.